Good Friday, good Friday. Welcome to Panama Crosstalk, where we're unfiltered and live with Panama things, everything Panama. Today's special guest here, we have how you doing?
Oh, your video went out. My bad. Audio, I couldn't hear. I'm good. I'm doing great.
Good. So you are now, how long have you been in Panama?
Since the 15th of January, so we're at May 30th, so it's been 5 months and a couple weeks.
All right. So guys, today's name of this Panama Crosstalk is Man on Fire. Man on Fire, because everything that you have been told in all kind of videos and different tour groups, plan, get boots on the ground, get your ducks in a row, get your your lawyer, do A, B, C, D, E, F, and Y, Z, and all of that you've been told from months of you watching videos. He did none of them. Man on fire. He came in Panama hot.
Yeah.
So how'd you choose Panama, and why'd you choose Panama?
So I chose Panama after last November. I was living in the States. I lived in the United States my whole life, and when I saw the election results, I'm leaving. I'm not going to be here. So my first choice I considered going to Canada, but I was unable to get there because the requirements there were that I need to either be going to school, like in college, or take my work skills. And at that time, I'm retired, so I wasn't working. I was working as a retired annuitant through the state of California, but I wasn't going to do that, and or marry a Canadian citizen. So I didn't have the ability to do that because I didn't know a Canadian citizen. So you had been going to Panama, since approximately 2008, and you had told me about Panama many times before. So I did some real quick research and saw that they had the pensionado visa, and saw I qualified for that. So I said, that's where I'm going. So then, based on that, and then your help, because you got me the real estate agent. I got a guide, a digital guide to help me. That's what I used. But there was no planning. I didn't take a tour beforehand. Made my plan to come down here, and then knew that because it's the language here, the official language is Spanish, I need to start beefing up my Spanish and learning.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So no hesitation. You just came down here, sight on. How many times have you been to Panama beforehand?
Zero. Settle.
What? Never stepped foot. Never did a let's fill it out to see if the weather's good, or
Nope.
do I got allergies? Is the mosquitoes going to bite you, or you will get whooping cough? What? None of that.
Nope. Sight unseen.
Sight unseen. Okay. And what about when you came here? Did you have a place lined up? What took place, man? What?
I did, again, only because of you. I had the real estate agent, so I had good research skills because of the job I had in California. I worked both for the county of Sacramento and then for the state of California. So my research skills were very good. So I researched online, and I used quite a few sites, but one of the main sites I used, I think, was for Panama was Encuentra 24. So I looked for a house, and I needed a special place because I have a little small dog. It's like about 14 pounds. He's kind of long, but he's an older dog, and I needed to get a backyard that had a stone fence. So I looked for a single-story house that couldn't do stairs because my dog is older. He's 13. Tiene 13 años ahora, 14 años. And then I'm getting long in the tooth. I'm getting older, so I didn't want stairs. I didn't want a pool because I want him falling in there. So I looked for a place that had a single story, backyard, fence, no pool. And this one happened to be a place that was a 24-hour secure. It has a station gate, so it's a secure location. So the real estate agent that you referred me to did a walkthrough for me via video. I saw that, I met the qualifications for me to make the down payment. That's what I did. Found the location. It's been great. I live in Villa Lucre, which is part of San Miguelito. Great location.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It's awesome. Got all set up there, and shoot, you was in and out. About how long from the time you decided to make the move from Panama did you move to Panama? What was your timeline?
Essentially, from the day that the election happened in the USA, which was like November 5th, I moved to Panama January 15th. So we're talking about November, December, and part of January, 2.5 months.
So you must have one hell of a clearance sale, huh?
Yeah, I think you call that a fire sale, right? Everything has to go.
Everything must go. I got to go.
Yep.
So,
I had
wow.
5 suitcases, but everything else I had, my sound bar, my massage chair, my TV, my bed, my dresser, all that went. I sold it.
Wow. So guys, this shows that it can be done if you have the skill set and you're determined. It's not recommended, but I can contest that he's got it all set up. He's set up and got a nice 3-bedroom house. And I've been out there. I came out there. So you was already out there for a month or two before I came out there.
Almost a month, because my birthday was in February and you came out for my birthday.
Yeah,
and I've been there a month. Yeah. So at that time, I had already started getting again, because I had connections through you. You had somebody meet me at the airport, pick me up. Then through that person, I found a person who was helping with the visas, the pensionado visa, and his wife was an attorney. So that started that process. So I have my temporary pensionado visa and my temporary driver's license, and I'm waiting for my permanent so that I can get that, and then 15 days later get my cedula. But that process, again, for the connections from you, that's what I had. But before then, I had not stepped foot in Panama, nothing about Panama other than what you had told me. So, but yeah, it happened.
Yeah, sure. So how was the whole pet situation when you traveled to do the pet thing? That story behind they won't allow you to take your dog on the plane because he's too long. But when it was all said and done, that dog still flew on the plane the same way that you could have done. Tell us about that.
He flew. So I tried to get my dog. Again, I told you he's a older dog. He's 13 years old. He's pretty small. He's about 12 inches off the ground, but he's approximately 20 to 21 inches long. So he didn't meet the requirements for an in-cabin flying, because the requirements are 18 inches long and about 11 inches high. So I went through an airline and they said, no, and we won't give you the waiver, even though their airline explicitly stated online that they would if your dog's over 11 years old, if you sign saying that they would not be liable. This airline would not do it. So I found somebody else, and they were able to do it for significantly more money, twice as much as what I was going to pay initially. I was going to pay around $3,000, I think, to get it from California to here. This cost close to $8,000, but they flew on the same airline that had said they would not fly my dog. But I got him here. I got him, and they flew him in cabin. He didn't go in cargo. They flew him in cabin. He's here, so I was happy. I was really ecstatic about that, because it took a long time. I searched a lot of different agencies in California and the United States, and I could not find anybody. I searched on different airlines, United, Delta, American Airlines, the big airlines, and they would not fly him in cabin. But I got him here, and they actually flew him in cabin here.
And that's the thing too, because you had access to resources, but as I tell many people, when those resources fail to come through, you have to pivot and you have to be fluent about it. And some people think, well, no, it should go smoothly. They was vetted and they was in this, but it don't turn out that way. That's what happened when you called one of those people that did the pet relocation. Couldn't help you, huh?
Yeah, I called multiple ones that worked kind of locally in Miami, because again, I was in California, but locally from Miami to Panama. And then I called ones that were in California. And that was the challenge also, because I was coming across the country. There's quite a few more resources in the state of Florida because of the proximity to Panama. But I had to call places that were in California because I had to get them from California there. I was even considering getting a U-Haul and driving him. And so, but I eventually found somebody, and then they tried to deal with the airline, and they said, no, we can't do it. We can't give you the waiver for his age. And then ultimately he ended up flying on that same airline and getting here. So, but yeah, it's a challenge. It was it definitely was a challenge. And I didn't have a big dog, and I couldn't understand the challenge, the difficulty in getting him. It's like, he's only a 21-inch dog. He's not like a 90-pound dog or 80-pound dog, 60-pound dog. He's a little small dog. He's a 13-year-old dog, weighs like 14 pounds, but they had breed restrictions. My dog has a mixture of them. So then I had to look at his rabies certificate and get that adjusted.
They have breed restrictions. What do you have? Cujo?
Yeah. They don't. Any dog that they apparently, I learned this from the research. Any dog that, because my dog initially kind of looks like he's a little pug, and he has no pug in him, because pugs have the smashed nostril and they have breathing difficulties. My dog, Winston, is more of a Chihuahua and Dachshund. He's a long dog, Dachshund, long dog, and then Chihuahua face. But because he looked like a pug, because of the breathing restrictions, the airlines will not take those dogs because they say they have difficulty in the air. Once they reach altitude, they don't do well. So they will not accept the liability.
So he couldn't have the mask drop down, so he could just take the mask and take the action.
Yeah. You put your mask on first, and then put the mask on. Nope, they said nope.
Yeah, wow.
So I had to get that worked out with the vet, and they said no, he's Dachshund and Chihuahua. So that got worked out, but then ultimately the agency, the airline said no, his age is can't accept the liability.
That's one of the big things when a lot of people move and come from the West Coast, is that whole distance, because almost everything is centered around coming out of Florida or maybe Dallas, Fort Worth, or Houston or something. Even with your moving your pallets or home goods or something like that. So coming away from the West Coast is a bit challenging. So everybody, you got to look for things, people that to transport all your stuff to one of those states, either Texas or Florida, and then you be good to go. So cool. So you found your place. You had your place when you showed up. So how did that all take place? How did so let people know what you went through to get all that signed and all that?
So after when the election happened, you was asking about the time frame between when I made the decision to go to Panama and when I actually arrived. So right at the election, I was determined to come here. So I had a pretty short time frame, 2.5 months approximately. So once I secured the location of the house where I'm at now, I'm renting. I had that time frame, so that kind of made things a little complicated, but it gave me a definitive time that I wanted to be there in, because I knew I was leaving on the 15th of January. So when I did that, once I arrived, and again through you, I arranged for the person to pick me up at the airport, and then additionally, I arranged with the agent that you had referred to me that I would be here to meet the owners, to do the actual physical walkthrough, and then go to the bank here, because my bank was in America. So I had to go to the bank to get the deposit and get the cash. So I had withdrew the cash in America from the ATM on multiple days. And then once I arrived here, I went to the bank here locally in Panama and then put the deposit into their account. So that was pretty smooth, just because, again, the connections, because you had connected me with the agent, and then I subsequently was connected with the owner of the house that I was going to rent. So the day I arrived, I let them know at the airport I was there in Tokuma Airport, and then they met me here, and I met them at the gate because there's security there, so they allowed me through, and that went pretty smooth. Again, only because I had that connection. But again, 0 foot on ground before I got here on the 15th of January.
Right. So yeah, I was the agent that I introduced you to. Plenty of people have different guides and stuff like that. But folks, when you find people that have stayed there as much as I've been going down to Panama and spend 2 months at a time, and then a month back in States and go back and forth, I met this agent having lunch with a mutual friend. So I actually had a chance to meet him, and I'd much rather use an agent that I've actually met and talked with than someone in maybe a guide first, because I've actually met them, I've talked to them, I've gotten a feel for them, and things work out better that way. So when people give you a little reference and they may not be, no one else knows about them, that's okay. If they've actually met them, I'll take a person that I've actually met over anybody that I haven't yet at that time, regardless who's done the vetting. So there's plenty of that stuff. So you're in Villa Lucre, which is about from where you stay at. I took the train, and I think it takes about 20 minutes to get downtown, the like El Cangrejo area, stuff like that. So what all have you I've seen you've already took your dog, you found a vet. You've actually done that. So tell us how smooth it went with finding a vet.
That was not too challenging because I needed a special vet because my dog has a condition called Cushing, so I needed to find an endocrinologist, and so I found one here, and then I just used my phone. That phone has been it's just been so it's been immeasurable. The help has been provided for me as far as using the translator for when I need to use it because I'm learning Spanish, but I'm not nowhere close to fluent. So there's times I need to speak to people who speak only Spanish, so the phone has helped with that. And then using the GPS function on there. So I went and found the vet there. It's a little ways closer to like Costa del Sur. So found the vet, and then I found me a dentist. I went there about 3 weeks ago and had my first cleaning since I've been here. So I stayed on my schedule because I was on the biannual schedule in America. So I found a dentist. And then yesterday I went to find I met with my doctor for the first time. So and he is in Costa del Sur as well. But it's been great. So Villa Lucre is a good location because once you know how to use the GPS, you can find the different places to go. And then I go to the store. I have a grocery store that's approximately 5 minutes away from me. I also go to the one that's probably about 20 minutes away from me, 15 minutes away from me. It's analogous to like America's price, analogous to America's Costco or Sam's. So it's there. So it's easy.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
And you had just told me about you just seen a doctor for since you've been there. So was the process difficult for you to go through finding a doctor, and how did that all work out? Could they speak? Could you communicate? Did you use sign language? What went down on that?
No, so I was looking for one that spoke some English, that was bilingual or a polyglot type of thing, because I wanted to understand my healthcare when I first got here, so I could understand it. I know that this is a Spanish-speaking country, but I need somebody that I could understand the language I speak, my native language, and I found one that spoke Spanish. The hospital was Punta Pacifica. I know you said no name drop, but I wanted to say that just because they're affiliated with Johns Hopkins, which is very known in the United States, and he spoke English, Spanish, Italian, I think, and French. So it was seamless. The transition was easy, and I met with him. And different than the States, which I'm accustomed to, is like you see a doctor in the States, at least when I saw doctors for my 20, 30, 40 years, it's like very quick. You go in there and you see them for like 10, 15 minutes and they're gone. This doctor spent like 30, 40 minutes talking to me, like welcoming me to Panama, telling me about spots I could go to since I'm brand new, and then dealing with my healthcare, and then ordering tests for me. So it was good. It was a very good process.
Cool. So you think you'll be maybe staying for a few more months, or are you things working out for you there? Or
I'm here. I'm in it to win it. I'm staying right here, not going anywhere.
What would you say to some of the people that are looking and thinking about Panama, about the language barrier, and what type of mindset do you need to have in order to get through all that?
You have to have a mindset, I believe, of having some patience, and the patience specifically because for me, like if you have an expectation of perfection, you're wanting to learn it, and not make mistakes. You got to get rid of it. I had it. I know, and I don't want to make mistakes, so I don't want to try to speak to them, to the native speakers before I learn to become fluent in conversational. You just got to know, no, you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. I know that a lot of people, a lot of companies and apps say that, oh, all the native speakers, they're very welcoming and they accept your mistakes. That may be true to a certain extent, but not all of them are that willing and agreeable to that. But nevertheless, I've been able to come down here, speak to people in my rudimentary level, and understand it, and they are accepting in that regard because they know you're trying to learn their language, and they're willing to work with you. And what you can't do, use your translator, and it works out.
Right. So you've done that. You've dealt with the servicemen. You've had gas as exchange. You've interacted with that.
Yeah.
You've paid
Yep.
the big cost of mobile vets. How did that go? Is that a big
Oh,
is that a big cost for you?
no. So when I did the early research after I talked to you about coming to Panama, the site I went to had indicated to me that Panama was approximately 44% cheaper than where I lived in Sacramento, California. So what I found out overall is it is cheaper for most things, but there are some things that are on the same level as in the States. However, my bills and my invoices for my dog significantly cheaper. I pay like my dog to stay for in a border for 5, 6, 7 hours, $10, $12. Overnight, $20. Grooming, but my dog has been in 2 different locations. I had a mobile groomer that was with the bath. That was about $37. And the place where I board Winston at, they groomed him for the same thing with the bath for about $37. In the States, I paid $90 for that. Consistently. So it's night and day different.
Uh, how you getting along with the food quality, man? I mean, you've trimmed down quite a bit. I
Yeah.
don't remember you being under 200 pounds, man. But damn,
Yeah. No, I had never.
you was
I
packing
had
that
been.
George Foreman weight back then, man. I thought you was about to get up in the ring and do. Said, damn,
Yeah,
I thought I was the boxer, but he.
I floated at, even when I was in my best shape before leaving the States, about 210. And I was hovering in January of this year about 220, 218, 220. Since I've been here in Panama, I have been at 190. Yesterday I was 193. I stay under 200. The food quality is good. I've adapted to the humidity. That's not been a problem for me. And it's better than any cold I had to deal with in Sacramento. When I left Sacramento, it was in the 50s and 40s there. So I've had to adapt to that just for the dog, not for me. Like, oh, I can't stand this. Like, it's easy. And now we're in the rain season. No problema. No hay problema.
I know you had some worries about the poisonous frogs out there. Have you encountered any of those?
No, I encountered some frogs. I don't know if there's poison, but I wasn't testing them to find out. But no, it's good. Stoneback fence, all good. Total in.
I remember the afternoon you opened the door and said, man, there's a big old frog right. Look at this thing. You closed the door back up and I just looked at him.
Going out trying to sniff it and trying to get curious about it. Yeah. It was a big old, it was like the size of my hand frog sitting on the back porch, just totally chilling.
You see how I handle with them, so you just keep going. Put your glove on, man, and and tries to hop around too much. Yeah, let him hit that electric fence a little bit. He'll straighten out. So shit. What else have you could you add to your whole experience with now being there, seeing how it's not rudimentary, it's not third world, and just seeing how similar it is to like being in States and stuff?
Oh, what I haven't done that you're already familiar with is like you're already familiar with the train system and how that works, and now they have a third line here that goes out, I think, towards like David and stuff like that, towards Boquete. I've seen it now that I've driven, a few times going different places with Winston. So, becoming familiar and acclimated to that helps you. Once you get over the fear or trepidation of not being fluent in the native language here, getting out and then just becoming familiar with the different locations, everything. Like, I had to go to the embassy to get my driver's license thing. So being familiar with Clayton and then Albrook Mall area, that helps a lot, because then you don't feel like you're scared. You're like completely been dropped in a new land. Like, I don't know what to do here. So doing that, and that helps a lot. And then you took me downtown to Casco Viejo area, El Cangrejo, and in San Francisco, those areas, Chandas. So doing that a few times, it kind of relieves the stress. And I think once you do that and get familiar, hopefully get a ride, because initially, like when you first got here, I
Yeah.
was just Uber exclusively. But now I
So
have a car.
let's talk about that. You went through the whole process and decided to get a vehicle. So how was that process for you? What did you go
Oh,
through with
that,
that?
that that was good. I mean, that was like a necessity for me. I needed to do it. But like you just said, when you first came here and I first got here, I was using Uber exclusively. And Uber is a better deal here than it is in the States as far as the cost. But you still got to be wary of like peak times, and then certain drivers will charge you more. So you try to do things. So having that vehicle, that was a great thing to do, and I wanted to do it. But it started for me getting the connection through you with the guy who got me the pensionado visa temporary, and then my temporary driver's license. Once I got that, I was able to get a car or a vehicle, and that has helped tremendously. And then just being familiar with how to use just a map, either Google Maps or Waze. And I've actually started using Waze a lot more here. I was exclusively a Google Map user in the States, but Waze is much better here in Panama.
Well, you don't trust Google Maps. What did Google Maps do to you that you ditched them?
Doesn't want to work. Doesn't want to give you audio instructions. It basically goes silent. Like, wait a minute, where am I at? And then you pass your exit. You're trying to and driving here. People are assertive in Panama. They're not the safety thing. So yeah, Waze is much better.
You were getting your sticker for your vehicle, and you noticed that you kept going past the place, but it was over there, but you couldn't get to there. So how did you actually get there? Let's tell the people, how did you really get there?
Google Maps would not direct me to this location. And after I had made probably 4 or 5 revolutions, I had looked over the side and said, that looks like it might be the location where they're doing the stickers at. It is like kind of in the middle of the highway underneath like an overpass. So I just went over. I had a vehicle that could go over. It's like an SUV almost vehicle. I went over a couple of curves and drove right in there. And there I was there. There was Panama Pass right there. I got my sticker. Even though I was like an hour late past my appointment, they gave me the sticker. I told them, lo siento, no hablo español bien, pero estoy tratando de mejorar. They said, oh, no hay problema. They told me where to go, and I went and got it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, yeah, you just blend right in. When you can do some crazy stuff like that, just blend right in, man. I mean, the traffic and all they can beat, but I gotta tell people, hey, man, being from California, both of us from California, you know how to bogart. You know how to bogart and do some driving. So, but for some of those that want to give up driving and the aggressive driving kind of scares you, go ahead and do the Uber. But I've said it plenty of times on Panama Crosstalk before that Ubers can be expensive, and they got a new algorithm that if you close the app, now it's $4 more. Or like, I mean, I refused to go out to Bella Beach one time because it was going to charge me $36 one way, and then I have to walk a half a mile to get to one of the known resorts, and then it's going to be $37 coming back. I'm like, come on, man! If I'm spending that kind of money, I want to either be eating it or drinking it, not on transportation. So that's a no mas for me real quick. So be careful with those Uber prices jumping up on you and stuff, man. So that's cool, man. You got your whole thing set up here. You got your pad that been out there to see and get that all set down. And shoot, what are you looking forward in the new year coming then? Because I know you.
Yep, just waiting to get my permanent visa and get my e-cedula. But even right now, I'm starting to go to some different locations and starting to go out and venture some locations that you have recommended. So I'm starting to do that and take Winston to the border. The border is very good. They're kind. They're gentle with them, and they're easy to get to. And like I said, they're extremely affordable. So I'm gonna do that and start trying to explore some different parts of Panama. Maybe go up to Cologne, different places, and enjoy it. And then just keep learning the Spanish and keep going out and using it. Keep going out using it, because as I've been doing it, it's really helped me with my conversational skills.
Yeah, right. Just total immersion.
Yeah. So, oh, yeah. And then it's a necessity. Yeah, a necessity to do it. And people that know you're trying to learn, now they're completely friendly. And always, how are you doing? And yeah, it's good.
Right. Excellent, man. Excellent. So, guys, that is that simple. You can be man on fire coming in Panama hot, or you can schedule it and do the right things and come in take a tour first, see if it's going to be a fit for you. But if you have your mind made up, and my bro had his mind made up that he was out, he was coming in the drop zone, and he was he's gonna be getting there. How he's gonna get there? So that's our philosophy, man. We either do it or don't do it. Get off the pot, get your ass out the way one. So
came in hot and ugly, but it still worked out.
it worked out. So that's cool. So guys, that's going to be it for me right here today. Jeff will probably be back next week. Another Panama Crosstalk, unfiltered. And I'm Eric, and this right here is my big bro, Matt, down in Panama, who beat me down there already, living full time.
Man on fire.
Man on fire.
Nos vemos la próxima.
So guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Until then, peace and love.